Hello everyone, today I want to talk about a few cards that I think are very cheap, very underrated, and very powerful all at the same time. If this list helps at least one of you make a purchase, or at least one of you save $100 on not buying a Draftbox 5 card that was really expensive, and instead of buying one of these, I'll be really happy. I hope we can help each other out, make the best decks we can possibly make, whether it's a Vegeta leader or not. I mean, we're all Vegeta fans, but we gotta get good. So, the first card I want to talk about is one that I think helps any deck playing green red because if you're going up against Vegex, this card is a knockout. It's 70 cents, which is criminal. I mean, it destroys everything that's 15k or less. And it doesn't have a leader restriction, it doesn't have a board restriction, it doesn't have an energy restriction. All it's asking is that you're running red and green, which is not a bad deal. Red is attached to Topo, green is attached to Cocoon Zone, a green leader. I mean, green and red are doing really good right now. So it color fixes you. It wipes the board at 15k. So again, Vegex turn 3 if you combo this. And again, hey, so let's say turn 3, their whole board is 15k, right? And you board wipe everything with this same technique, Grade 8 Vegeta. You can hit one more red and arrive, what's his name, Gogeta? Resonant Explosion. If you want to take out whatever the grade 8 didn't take. So, for example, like a 20k, a 30k. Um, and again, it's a Vegeta card, so obviously I love it, and the art is awesome. How can you not love this guy? The next card is Internal Energy Shift. Dude, I opened one of these guys, and I'm like, I'm gonna put this in my deck just to flex, whatever, it looks nice. And then I like used it, and you know when you use a card in locals and then you pick it up and say, oh yeah, didn't I put this in my deck? And you look at it, and I'm like, wait, I just untapped an energy, I untapped a battle card, and I looked at the top card of my opponent's friggin' deck, like, and then my opponent grabbed it as well and looked at it just to make sure I wasn't cheating, and I'm like, nope, that happened. So imagine a Whis Coercion and a Battle's Assistance if it was in one card for one cost. And I got to look at my opponent's like one top deck. It requires a bit of skill because obviously you shouldn't do it against an Invoker deck, and I did against Ken, and it top decked an extra card, and I was like, oh okay, that's neg. But like, there's cards in that universe that that can stack your opponent's deck, and that could be a pretty powerful combo, but just by itself. 34 cents, on top of energy, on top battle cards, and you get free information. I mean, you can't get that's a lot for a negate. The next card I want to talk about a little bit is the Grand Priest. I know we've already done a video on him, but it's it's a 148, and this is gonna sound a bit blasphemous, but I think I'm right. This card is a strictly better version than Janemba from Draftbox 4. Like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but Janemba feels like a win-death card when I have to have a clear board. I know it comes out a little sooner, but it's the same thing. It's a 1-drop, 20k critical. And one thing the Grand Priest does is, I know it doesn't actually draw me 2 cards, but if you play it right, it kind of does. Like, if you play a Kami early on, right? Or any of the 1-drop gods that draw a card, and then turn 4, you play an Overwhelmed Kai of Time. You play this guy for 1, and you're bouncing those 2 cards back to your hand. I'm just telling you how it feels. It feels like a draw 2. You're not bouncing cards that you really need on the board. Like, you're not bouncing back an Invoker card. You're bouncing back an Overwhelmed God that you already swung with, you know? And that you already drew out of. Like, if you're playing the Kai of Time, you play the Kai of Time, you draw with her, you swing with her, you play this guy, you bounce it back, along with like a Kami or a Dende or any of those 1-drop cards. Again, it's just criminally low, and it's criminally good, and you should all buy a playset. I mean, I would play it at 3 at a deck, but I think it's powerful. Like, I love cards that do a lot for cheap, especially for 1-drop critical. Like, bro, come on. It's so good. And also, finally, the Shinkan has a card that I want to play, because there was an old one that I didn't like, and this is just so cheap. The next one is Frieza, the one from the expansion pack, and this card is 30 cents. I kind of don't get why it's not being played as much. Um, it's like a Raiders War Cry in a way. In a way, it's not as good, and in a way, it's a little better. It depends on the matchup, but it's definitely not $50. Like Raiders War Cry isn't $50 better than Frieza Fairweather Fiend. Like I think it's better, but bro, like for 30 cents, you get a 2-drop double K, 20K double strike, and if you're playing against Invoker, or if you're playing against, I don't know, any sort of deck that requires the user to use a lot of negates, and in that turn they don't have an access to like counter this card, I mean they could be in a lot of trouble. Remember, the card that this is attached to is a unison that looks at your opponent's hand. So you can always look at your opponent's hand and see if you can snatch the counterplay that they would play for this card, and then play this card. And then anytime they negate, they're just negging, ignoring barrier. Like, it's really powerful. For 30 cents, you guys should have a playset if you're running this. I'm not sure. One of the decks that's coming back a lot is Dende. I think Dende might be able to play this. I really have to check, I'm not sure, but it's a really good card. Another really good card, speaking of cheap things that are really powerful, and I mean cheap in money and in energy, because it's $1.90 right now, Hidden Cold Blood, it's a triple striker, and it's 30k. So let's just pretend it's a 4-drop, right? Because that's what it was meant to be, a 4-drop. You play this as a 4-drop against what I believe is one of the best decks in the game, Green Goku. And you've now introduced one of the only counters against that deck. I know we're all very happy about Vegex. I know he's the best leader in the game, but Green Goku is right up there with him. If you haven't tested against him, when I first read Green Goku, I thought he was bad. And then I tried him out, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is the best leader in the game. And if you haven't tried it, I understand if you think I'm wrong about this, and I get it. And I just hope you never have to play against him, because Green Goku's insane. Hidden Cold Blood is just a meta call against him, because he flips him back to his front. So Green Goku can no longer destroy your board defensively, you know? So Hidden Cold Blood just presents a really good answer against how powerful that leader is. One thing I want to talk about is the fact that it comes out for 2 energy with Planet Sadala, because of the ruling that Planet Sadala is a skill, and skills don't tap energy, therefore they don't care about specified cost. So if you have 5 blue or yellow cards, you can just tap 2 for Planet Sadala, draw a card, play Hidden Cold Blood. And when I did this, I did it in Jiren Leader, who spammed 1-drops and 2-drops, and I would, the very next turn, play another Planet Sadala, I drew 2, because you draw 2 when you replace the Sadala, and then played another hit. And I did it a lot. I have to give props to Steven, who comes to our locals, and he's the one that did this first. He did it with Kefla Leader. He just played it for free with Kefla Leader. I was impressed. But again, even if it's a 4-drop, even if they take out the ruling that he can be played for 2, it's still $1.90. Like, it's $2 for a really cool finisher that I really believe is gonna be a necessary tool to beat Goku. Because not a lot of people, not a lot of decks can get around that leader's effect and that leader's strategy. If you guys have anything else, there's a lot of good, powerful cards that aren't expensive and that anyone can use. I think I introduced in this video something for every color, something for every leader. If you're playing Vegeta or not, we're all Vegeta fans, but we all want to play meta as well. So if you guys have questions, we have a pretty cool community. We're pretty new, but we're helping each other out. I'm really proud of all the people topping, posting their deck profiles, posting all the stuff they're doing with the spice we're sharing with each other. And it's not really spice because we're all helping each other, and I love seeing new players, experienced players sharing their ideas. And alright, well, good luck. Let's keep making Vegeta great again, guys. Thank you.